Hello everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Essence, and in today's video I would like to talk about what a grimoire is. A grimoire is a spell book, essentially, where people who practice magic can put a lot of their deep secrets, their magical secrets, things that they do, things that they believe, things that they practice. Now, not everyone has a grimoire. I tried to start one years ago, didn't really work out. Really, I wrote down a lot of spells that they seemed good at the time, very poetic, but weren't effective in terms of energy because I didn't even practice with them. I just put them down. I think I put this in some of my previous videos where I went through it. There was even some curses that no way in hell did they work, but they were made during a time when my energy was kind of so-so during high school, so it's no wonder they didn't work. But do I want to make one again? Absolutely. The video where I showed you that big book, my new codex, I would like to use that big book as a big grimoire. Now, other than spells, what can be put in a grimoire? Well, aside from incantations and spells, prayers can be put into it. Ingredients for elixirs and potions, maybe even some herbal remedies, if the witch is inclined. The names and purposes of certain spirits and deities that they believe in and pray to. Directions for ritual setup. But basically anything that is a part of your practice and beliefs will go in a grimoire. I haven't met too many people in my life who have been practitioners of magic, but for those I have met, it didn't appear like they had one. Personally, I do find it difficult to make one because I don't really do spells in the way that most people think witches do. When they think of witches, most people think, rhyming involved and saying a spell and casting some sort of magic at someone or something and, instantaneous effect. Now, when I do a spell, I basically do it in the form of a prayer where it's just my emotion and whatever words I truly feel that come from my heart to my mouth. And as long as there is words and feeling and power behind those words, that's what I do. I don't really follow any written down spells. And spells, like writing down spells, it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's really for those who have a poetic heart, I believe. Those who, it doesn't have to rhyme, but most people find that it's easier not only to remember, but it's also fun to say when you rhyme a spell. But essentially, I just put feeling to words and say them. That's essentially it. Now, I may add some stuff to enhance the energy, like crystals, candles. I'll also utilize the power of certain deities and gods, and maybe some spirits here and there. But essentially, I don't really have anything written down that's actually useful to me. That rain spell that I made years ago, that was probably the only spell that I actually tried out that worked. And I used it on more than one occasion. And it, most of the time, has been successful. However, as I said in one of my previous videos, the gods that I used to create it, I have since changed. I haven't prayed to since I made it. So I will have to rewrite that down. But in time, I do want to make a grimoire. Now, a grimoire is a very personal book. You are not to let anyone see it. This holds a lot of personal things about you. It would be like giving someone like important pieces of information about you, a complete stranger. You don't know the kind of harm that they are going to try and do with it. Like giving a hacker your social security number and stuff like that. You know, it's not something that you want to freely give out. This is information solely for you. Now, with that being said, there is one exception to that rule, but it's kind of iffy. So, for those in a group, a coven, if you will, may be inclined to share their grimoire with each other if the trust was good enough. So, usually to be in a coven, there has to be some good, solid trust there to even get into one. I have never been part of a coven. I kind of always wanted to start one, but of course there was nobody around, so... But I have heard, I've read accounts and books and some articles from people who claim to be in covens that they would never show their grimoire to anyone unless they absolutely 100% trusted the person and the person was on their same wavelength and had the same beliefs as they did, which, if you're in a coven with each other, then obviously, they are on the same wavelength and there is some trust there. Now, I also heard accounts on these books and articles where it said that they may not have trusted everyone in the coven with that information. It may be like a really good friend who's also in the coven with them. They might share and actually do rituals together from the grimoire and do spells and study the occult with each other. But that is a rare occurrence, as it seems. You just have to be very careful about who you show it to. It's not something that you would show your parents. It's not something that you would show even a friend. It's not something that you would show to people who you didn't know, because there's always the worry that they would try to use that information against you. And if someone, uses that information against you, I mean, that's like having your personal information stolen. They could do anything with it. They can ruin your life with it. They may try to use certain spells against you or try to sabotage a lot of your spells, and, you don't want that. So to eliminate the risk altogether, it's best not to show anyone a grimoire. The one I have now, considering that most things in it are pretty much useless, and there's only one spell that I actually have in there that is actually somewhat useful, I mean, I don't care. I've showed my sister. And I think I've also shown a friend at my high school years ago. I didn't really care because a lot of those spells they didn't have the energy to back up the effects that they were supposed to do. So I had no care in the world about showing people. Now, if the opposite were true, and it was a grimoire filled with spells that I have tested and legitimately worked with and found to be successful, I would be extremely, extremely worried if someone outside of my inner circle saw that. You even got to be careful with people in your inner circle. Most people, they would probably show it to someone who doesn't practice magic or maybe doesn't believe in magic, but they're interested in seeing what the grimoire is about. And to be perfectly honest, I would even worry about that, because even if they might not believe or practice magic, it might strike a chord in them and they might try it. Or, they might try messing with you or trying sabotaging. So there's a belief that if you tell people about your goals and plans and everything, then people who don't believe in you, their intentions are going to go towards the goals, and kind of sabotage you along the way. So they say it's good not to tell people like your goals and the things that you're doing. And so to prevent that energy from tainting the energy that you are trying to cast out within this grimoire, it's best to stay safe and just with yourself. And if you really, really thought you found someone who you would like to share it with, I would make some, I would have some requirements involved with that. You would have had to have known them for at least, I want to say 5 years or more. Someone who, you know, who has been with you through thick and thin. Someone who you can go to whenever you're having a bad time. Someone who you wholeheartedly trust. And also a prerequisite so that they truly understand where you're coming from, also have similar ideas, but the basis is that they believe in what, you know, you believe. They believe in magic, you know, and spirituality, and are spiritual people. Those are the kind of people that I would make exceptions for, but, you know, there's got to be some requirements on my end. I mean, truth be told, if I did decide to make one tomorrow, I don't really know anybody who I would actually want to see it, you know, because a lot of the people that I have, well, actually, a lot is, no, it's not even that. The few people that I have met in my life that actually practice magic and use magic and stuff like that, people who are in the same interest as that, I do not speak to anymore. It's always been, you know, we start talking, and then, you know, life happens, and then it's not like we ended on bad terms, it's just life happened. But knowing the people that I have met in my life who have been practitioners, there is not a single one in that group. And I want to say, let's see, it's got to be about 5 people, at least. Out of those 5 people, there's not a single one that I would show my grimoire to. So just be very careful if you do have a grimoire. And just in the comments, of course, I don't want to know what's in your grimoire. I just want to know, do you guys have one? And do you agree with my assessment on the privacy of said information, and about who to show it to? If you disagree with me, put it down in the comments. I would love to hear it. If you agree, tell me why. You know, put it down in the comments, just so I know you're listening. That's the kind of stuff I want to hear. You don't have to tell me about what's in it. I don't want to know what's in it. Just, if you have one, and do you agree with my assessment? Yes or no? Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And have a good day, everyone.